modern life. So convenient, so clean, so deceptively horrifying when you start digging into the past. You ever bite into a nice juicy hamburger, scroll on your perfectly sanitized phone, or sing Ring Around the Rosie without realizing that, somewhere in history, a demon of chaos was probably involved? Today we're taking 10 innocent things from our everyday life and ripping off the cozy, comforting surface like a Scooby-Doo villain mask, only to find something deeply disturbing. Underneath, you're welcome in advance. 1. Alarm clocks. Invented to keep you poor and tired. Alarm clocks, the shrieking banshees of our mornings. You'd think something so irritating was created by a sleep-deprived sadist, and you'd be right. Back in the early industrial revolution, factory owners needed workers to show up on time because, surprise, people don't naturally wake up at 4 a.m. ready to assemble buttons for 16 hours straight. So they invented alarm clocks to rip you from your dreams and throw you into capitalist productivity mode. And before personal alarm clocks, they literally paid knocker-uppers, people who would bang on your window with a stick until you woke up. Imagine that. A dude with a pole slapping your window at 4 in the morning. The past was not subtle. So yeah, that thing ruining your REM cycle? It was born out of the need to exploit your labor more efficiently. Sweet dreams. 2. High heels. Originally for angry Persian men on horses. You might think high heels are all about strutting, sass, and social media thirst traps. But no, their story starts with blood, war, and horses. High heels were originally invented for Persian cavalry in the 10th century. Why? So they could stay locked in stirrups while shooting arrows. That's right, heels were designed for killing people more accurately. Nothing says slay like literal slaying. European aristocrats saw this and thought, you know what would look fabulous at court? Murder shoes. So the style was imported and became the hottest trend among wealthy men. Yep, men. The higher your heel, the more powerful you looked. Eventually, women started wearing them too, and they became associated with femininity. And somewhere along the way, we collectively forgot they were weapons-grade footwear for medieval archery. So next, time you wear heels, just remember, you're channeling centuries of violent, fashion-forward men on horseback. 3. Teddy bears. Born from political propaganda and bear abuse, teddy bears, the universal symbol of childhood innocence, comfort, and that one thing your dog keeps trying to destroy. But guess what? Their origin story involves a real bear and a very awkward U.S. president. Back in 1902, President Theodore Roosevelt went on a hunting trip in Mississippi. After failing to kill anything awkward, his guides tied a real live bear to a tree and were like, "Here, Mr. President, blast. This one?" Roosevelt, to his credit, refused. The bear was later killed anyway, because people were emotionally bankrupt in 1902. This moment was turned into a political cartoon, which inspired a toy maker to create a stuffed bear called Teddy's Bear. It blew up. People loved it. And just like that, an incident involving animal cruelty, political PR, and a dead bear became the origin of your childhood cuddle buddy. So yeah, maybe don't hug it too tight. It's seen some things. 4. Diamonds. Colonialism's favorite accessory, diamonds are forever, and so is generational trauma. Look, we all know diamonds are marketed like they came from angel tears and represent eternal love. But their history? It's basically a mashup of Indiana Jones, Blood Diamond, and every bad decision the British Empire ever made. Diamonds became wildly popular after the De Beers Company launched a massive marketing campaign in the 1940s. They literally invented the idea that you had to spend 3 months' salary on a ring or you were a failure at love. Romantic. But before that, diamonds came from brutal colonial mining in Africa, with local populations being displaced, enslaved, or worse. Also, some rich dude in Europe could shine at a gala. And let's not forget the term blood diamond isn't a metaphor, it's disturbingly literal. So if you're rocking a big, shiny rock on your hand, just remember, it might sparkle, but it sure as hell doesn't shine clean. 5. Bras. Men couldn't stop designing them. Here's a fun fact. Most of history's bras were designed by dudes who had no idea what boobs actually do. The modern bra, as we know it, was first patented in 1914 by a woman named Mary Phelps Jacob, which is great. Girl power. Except, almost immediately, the design got hijacked by men who thought they knew better. Spoiler, they didn't. Throughout the 20th century, bras were engineered more for male fantasy than female comfort. Bullet bras. That was just 1950s America going through something. Push-ups? Designed to mimic the ideal cleavage for the male gaze. Also, early bras were marketed with the promise to improve posture and keep women modest. Translation, hide those things and suffer quietly. So yeah, every time you unclasp your bra at the end of the day and feel pure freedom, know that centuries of confusion, patriarchy, and bad engineering led to that exact moment. 6. Sugar. Sweetened by suffering. Sugar. The reason cookies exist, the reason cereal is fun, the reason dentists drive Porsches. But sugar also has one of the darkest backstories in the pantry. The sugar trade is deeply tied to the transatlantic slave trade. European demand for sweetness led to massive sugar plantations in the Caribbean and the Americas, run almost entirely on enslaved labor. People were kidnapped, shipped across oceans, and forced to harvest cane under brutal conditions, all so rich Europeans could have dessert. We're talking millions of lives destroyed for tea with sugar. Let that sink in next time you dunk your biscotti. Sugar wasn't just a treat. It was a global machine powered by unimaginable cruelty. And now it's in literally everything, from bread to ketchup to things that should not be sweet, like barbecue sauce. So yeah, enjoy that cupcake. It's delicious and historically horrifying. 7. Shampoo, originally made from boiled animal fat and lye. You know that fresh coconut vanilla scent your shampoo has now? That's a modern miracle, because old-school shampoo was basically medieval soup. Before we had delightful plastic bottles full of chemicals with names that sound like alien planets, people cleaned their hair with concoctions of boiled animal fat and lye. Yes, boiled animal fat. Later, some genius thought, hey, let's just use soap bars on our heads, which, of course, dried out scalps and turned hair into hay. But whatever, it was the 1800s. Nobody had standards. The word shampoo actually comes from the Hindi word champo, because British colonizers encountered traditional Indian head massages and thought, we should steal this and do it worse. So, every time you're massaging that lovely foamy lather into your scalp, just remember, it walked so animal grease and colonialism could run. 8. Forks. Once considered satanic stabby sticks. You know, those handy little utensils that keep your fingers clean and your dignity intact during spaghetti night? People used to think they were blasphemous. When forks were first introduced to Europe from the Middle East, church leaders were outraged. Why would God give you fingers if not to eat with them? They asked. And honestly, that's a strong argument from a guy who's never had marinara under his fingernails. Forks were seen as decadent, effeminate, and even unholy. One Byzantine princess got roasted, figuratively not literally, for using a fork at a wedding. People were like, oh wow, she's stabbing her food like the devil. It took centuries for forks to be accepted. In the meantime, people just used knives and spoons and got very sticky. So if you're twirling pasta today, know that once upon a time, you'd be burned at the stake for it with a fork. 9. Lipstick. Brought to you by crushed bugs and lead-poisoning lipstick. The ultimate statement of glam. The thing that says, I woke up like this, but also I didn't. But the origins of lipstick are, well, crunchy. Ancient Egyptians were among the first to go bold with lip color, mixing red pigment from crushed beetles. Yes, literal insects. Cleopatra, full glam, full bug. But wait, it gets worse. In the Elizabethan era, women used lipstick made from white lead and mercury, which is a fun way to say, let me look stunning while slowly killing myself. Symptoms included hair loss, skin rot, and death. But hey, the cheekbones were snatched, and in the 20th century, companies kept using toxic ingredients because it looked pretty. Capitalism, where beauty kills you slowly, but profitably. So that gorgeous red you're wearing? It's got a centuries-old body count, fierce. Pity. 10. Nursery rhymes. Songs of death, plague, and weird royalty. Ring Around the Rosie. Sounds cute, right? Until you realize it's basically the soundtrack to the Black Death. Ring Around the Rosie. And red rashes. Pockets full of posies. Flowers to mask the smell of rotting bodies. Ashes. Ashes. People literally being burned. We all fall down. Everyone dies. Not quite the cheerful sing-along for toddlers you thought it was, huh? And that's not the only one. Mary, quite contrary, totally about a queen who murdered people. London Bridge is falling down, collapsing infrastructure and possibly child sacrifice. Good times. Basically, nursery rhymes were how traumatized societies taught history through cryptic, sing-song horror stories for children. So the next time your kid hums a nursery rhyme, just remember, they're channeling centuries of pain, plague, and weird medieval trauma. Sleep.
Tight.
Final thoughts. So, what have we learned today, friends? That our innocent daily objects are soaked in blood, greed, bugs, and lead. Yay, history. The world may seem normal now, but everything we touch is a remix of something deeply cursed. So the next time you put on lipstick, eat something sweet, or hit snooze on your alarm clock, just smile and think, this probably ruined lives in the past, and now it's ruining mine. Full circle. Stay curious, stay disturbed, and don't trust anything that looks cute. It probably has an origin story straight out of a horror movie. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ask your teddy bear if it remembers the screaming.